Hey guys, I almost forgot that today was a streaming day because I took last Monday off so that I could talk to a friend. So I kind of rushed this a little bit. I might not be too active this time around just because I think maybe my family might have also forgotten. So I don't want to be like super duper loud. In fact, I don't even expect anyone to show up because I nearly forgot. But if you managed to come anyway, glad you could make it. Hope you enjoy my t-shirt. And I hope if you're watching the replay of this that you have a wonderful Christmas. Hopefully a wonderful New Year, but that's not exactly a Catholic celebration. It's not even a Christian celebration now that I think about it. Why do we celebrate New Year? I don't know. I guess for me, like celebrating a year helps me like remember when special occurrences happened. So like I can say, "Oh yeah, 2010. I will never forget that year because something super special happened." Hello, JP. Glad you could make it. Soon as I said 2010, I saw your comment because mission trip years. Welcome in. How have you been doing lately? Hope you're getting pumped for my upcoming content as I've got quite a lot of stuff in the works. I just finished Persona 5 Royal today, got the true ending, and I finally said, okay, now that I can take a break from that behemoth of a game, let's work on all these projects. So hopefully you'll be able to see some more stuff coming. Now I gotta think, I forgot how to give the link to this to my audience. So I am not sure how to share this with anyone. Oh well, if they can't come, they can't come, and it'll just be you and me reminiscing about the old times. Speaking of mission trip, I don't think you ever told me. Um, I don't think you ever told me what your favorite part of that trip was besides my miraculous healing. Like, I want to know, did you like the music? Did you like the Carpenter Commandos? Did you like your work project? Like, what were some of the highlights outside of God working so wonderfully in my life? Oh, good. We already got one like and another person here. Welcome in, second person. Oh, it must be. Oh, hello, Jovel. Been playing Sparks of Hope. That's such an amazing game. I'm glad you're able to play it. Oh, you worked at a foster home. That's. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I think. No, maybe I'm thinking of someone else. I did get to visit some of the work teams as one of the privileges of being an associate staff member. And I remember I did visit one group who was working at a daycare, but I take it that probably wasn't you, was it? Because I took a picture of the occasion too. I don't know if I still have it or not. Oh, wait, wait, in the woods. Because there was another group that took me on the trail that they had trailblazed, and then they invited me over for lunch, and I got to participate in their lunchtime discussions. So that definitely wasn't you. That would have been cool if we had like just happened to meet up and like not known anything. That's so cool. A completionist, Jevil. I seriously wonder why you guys torture yourselves like that. Thank you. I've had this Super Mario Brothers T-shirt. I'm guessing about 2 or 3 years now because I think I got it for Christmas, and I actually don't really like the original Super Mario Brothers that much. I think every time I go back and replay it, I realize that it's more and more dated. And there's a reason why in Super Mario Maker they tweaked the original Super Mario Brothers style levels so that the physics were different. Hello there, Orville. Yes, indeed. quite the nerd, and he's showing it on his chest. How's it going? What games have you been playing lately? As for myself, I'm sure most of you know that I have been almost torturing myself with Persona 5 Royal. As for how I am, yeah, that's one of the big things about my well-being is I've been playing Persona 5 Royal a lot because I got the bad ending, but then I accidentally saved over my save file. So then I had to start a whole new file because I was curious about what the other ending was like. And I'm glad that I did it because there were like two more palaces and lots of more stuff that I completely missed out on. And one of the best twists in the game. It was mesmerizing. And it really got me thinking about like the point of human suffering and like if there's redemption in learning from suffering. Completionist runs for Breath of the Wild. My gosh, I feel sorry for you guys because I have heard that that game is not very nice to completionists. That it actually mocks them and makes fun of them. So good luck with that. Oh, so that's why you're not able to play so many games, Jevil. That explains it. I was wondering why you were so slow compared to me, but it's because I'm not a completionist. I suddenly have enlightenment. Yubi, what can I say? I'm not Peggle. I'm not used to this regular schedule just yet. I gotta get into the swing of it, especially because I don't stream video games. But welcome in, Yubi. What's the latest news on your end? I'm I'm thinking about your reaction to my worst games of 2022 list and bracing myself for the impeding torrential flood. 900 Koroks. Yes. I think I've only found like 80 of them, I think. And I got the DLC too, so I had the Korok mask, but I still just wasn't willing to go to, to all that trouble just for, well, we all know what the reward is by now. I won't say it just in case you don't know, but it's definitely something. You agree with me? Oh, that's interesting. Which ones do you agree with me on, Yubi? You got an unboxing done? What was the unboxing all about? And hey, I'm glad that you're playing DDLC. That's one of my favorite games. I I just think DDLC just does such a great job of pretending to be a dating simulator and then like really doing a 360 on you halfway through. Gotta love it. Breath of the Wild. Very nice, Jevil. Glad to hear that you're getting some good tastes in games. Power Rangers used to be a big deal when I was younger, and now hardly anyone knows about them. So, or at least if they do, they don't talk about them very much. They probably realize that I'm more of a gaming nerd than a movie nerd. So they, how do I word this? They probably just don't mention it to me because they figure we don't have enough common interests. Sadly, I am probably not able to look at Instagram because I have a flip phone, and two, I have a laptop. And I've heard that Instagram is primarily designed for folks that have smartphones. And I see no need to upgrade at the current moment. I am very happy with my energy efficient flip phone. What is In the Heights anyway? You keep talking about that, but I don't even know what that is. Would you care to summarize for the audience? Maybe give a little pitch to it and say, hey, this is so good that it even beats out Fire Emblem Three Houses. That'll be a feat. I'm actually making a list of the top 20 best games I've reviewed. Well, I started making that video back when I had reviewed 200 footage reviews, and I've had some extras since then, so it might not be 100% accurate, but at least I'd like to think the top 10 are. So you guys will be able to see what two games I like better than Three Houses, if I haven't told you already. Jevil, the amount of times you say fun fact when it might not even be fun is hilarious, but let's see what you have to say. Uh, well, I'm not an Xbox guy, but I am happy that more people are able to play these awesome games. Because, like, the original DDLC is still a PC exclusive. So when the Plus version came out, they put it on consoles as well. So I was really happy that more audiences were able to experience it. A bodega. What's a bodega? Huh. I'm not sure what to think about that because I'm the type of guy that I like staying in one place. I don't really like moving a whole lot. Game Pass does seem like a pretty cool idea. Switch Online sort of has that, but it's much more selective. Hey there, Peggle. Glad you could make it. Hope I didn't wake you up. Oh, man. Today is a legendary day. I'm glad you came here just in time for me to say I finally got the true ending of Persona 5 Royal. And so now I was able to catch up on a lot of my projects and I was able to finish up the last video in my best footage reviews I've done. All right, JP, see you around. And so now I got an email from Gamefly that says that Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is coming. Very surprised such a game is on the Switch. Like, the original Final Fantasy VII Remake isn't on Switch yet. Yes, yes. Gotta love the slur you're throwing in my direction about my own moderating skills. Oh man, you guys sure love rubbing it in that that Slime Rancher 2 isn't on Switch. Not that I particularly care. It doesn't seem like my kind of game. Oh, I see. A corner store. Okay, let me reread. That's part of the reason that why I'm being quiet. Yeah. Bodega owner. Oh, I see. Okay, now your comment makes much more sense. So a store owner tried to figure out if he needs to relocate. Oh, okay. Very interesting. The other reason why I'm being so quiet is just because I was kind of caught off guard about streaming because I don't know what was going through my mind. I was thinking it's a Monday. At least for me, it's a Monday. And on Mondays, those are my days off before I go into work on Tuesday. And I was thinking, oh, good. I can be nice and relaxed and get a lot of stuff done so that I can be nice and equipped for a gym. And then while I was watching Dragon's stream, it just hit me that my audience expects me to be here. So I didn't really have time to psych myself up for an audience because I wasn't expecting to talk to anyone. I was expecting my friend Allison to hang out with me today, but she got no, no. My friend Danielle got a flat tire yesterday, and then today Allison had digestive problems, so that was two hangouts in a row that got canceled. So I guess I was in that mindset of this is going to be a two hangouts day, but when the other hangout was canceled, yeah, my brain is weird. Like, I'm a very routine oriented guy. I like to do everything based on like the same old thing repeated over and over again. I'm not the type of person that seeks out a tremendous amount of variety in my life. So when something new comes up, it takes me a while to adjust to it because I've been living the same old for so long. Ugh, I gotta get a better position for streaming than this because this bed is certainly not ideal for a good streaming. Let me Actually, let me try doing this. Maybe sitting on the bed is too obnoxious. There we go. That's much more comfortable. I don't know why I didn't say that before. Oh, yeah. I actually just rewatched Encanto recently. I remember my sister and we didn't see why the the Bruno song was so overhyped. I mean, we like it. We just didn't think it was on the same league as like the music of Tangled. I personally think Let It Go is more memorable, but one thing I will give the Bruno song credit for is that it does a better job with harmonies. Okay. So what's been on everyone's gaming radar, assuming you're actually a gamer? Well, this isn't actually my room. This is my mom's room. She just lets me use it because it's the farthest away from the living room, which is where my folks go when they want to watch TV at night. If there's ever comes a day when my folks are like on vacation or something, then I'll probably show my own room. I've never seen Hamilton, but I do I do highly respect whoever wrote those songs. Oh, yeah, now that I've played Persona 5, maybe I should get into the earlier games as well. We will see if they're rentable. When you say Lynn, do you mean the person who sang stuff like Last Surprise, Take Over, and Rivers in the Desert? Because I would agree she is pretty nice, even if she either mispronounces the words or the song was just so poorly written that it sounds like a butchered English speaker, or like someone who's not an English speaker is trying to speak English. Wait, wait, Peggle, I think we're on completely different wavelengths. Oh, okay. I we're talking about totally different Lins because the person who sings a lot of the vocal tracks in Persona 5, her name is Lynn. So I thought that you were talking about her because I've been playing Persona 5 so much and that you knew the music because you were paying attention to Smash Brothers. Okay. That's funny. That's funny that there could be a male and a female Lynn that are both like music involved, but yet are working on two different things. You'll forget Moana. Is there something about that movie that you don't like? My sister and I only got partway through. I think the main reason she didn't like it is because she didn't like the fact that the big guy was like using his nipples to make the waves roll in his tattoos, and I think she just thought that was creepy. Either that or maybe she just was feeling kinda meh about the movie in general. Then again, my sister is a master procrastinator. It's kind of it's kind of a tradition where she'll start a movie with me, and then we end up not finishing it. Uh, well, Jevil, if I'm gonna get Game Pass, it's gotta be for good games, like maybe a Mario game or a Zelda game, because right now, the way you're describing it, it seems like it's exclusive to Xbox, and Xbox doesn't have the same legacy IPs as Nintendo does. So I wouldn't want to get a whole Xbox just for that. Unless you're trying to shout out to the rest of the audience. Let's see. Okay, I'm just catching up on the chat here. What exactly is it about Hamilton that makes everyone love it so much? Because I keep hearing all these things about it, and I'm like, what? What exactly is Hamilton? Oh yeah, that's right. You did chip your tooth, Orville. Were you able to go to a dentist to get it checked out? The American Revolution. I actually forgot what the American Revolution is. I know there's this joke that the Australian priest that was in charge of one of the groups that I was in, he said that he always said that he knew more American history than the Americans. I don't know. I just think I think there's too much of a stigma of people that aren't Americans to like put blame on Americans for things that they did in the past and thinking that the Americans of the present somehow approve of those actions. Like oh, you Americans bombed Pearl Harbor, or not Pearl Harbor. Well, that was the Japanese that did. But we're not going to blame the Japanese of today for what the Japanese back then did to Pearl Harbor. It's like, okay, blame the people back then who actually did it, but don't blame the people now in the same way. We don't blame current Southerners for the Civil War, nor do current Southerners blame Northerners, or at least the mature ones don't. So I definitely hope that you Australians don't say, you Americans did this in 1855 and therefore we hate all of you. Like, I sincerely hope not, because I don't hold any ill will towards Australians. Uh, you highly recommend it. Oh, what kind of music? If it has orchestra music, maybe. I just don't like the operatic singing. I don't really like too many musicals to begin with. I think Disney does a good job of balancing out the pitch of the singers so that they're not like too high or too low. Whereas like most musicals, oh my gosh, they really know how to hurt my ears. Security Breach, even I'm interested in possibly trying out Security Breach if it ever comes on the Switch. Then again, I'm not really the type of person that really likes a lot of stealth and horror games, so it would probably be, I'd probably have to rent it, and even then, I'd probably have to ask Peggle a lot of questions about if it's comparable to the stealth sections in Persona 5. Well, I might as well just ask right now, because you never know if The Witcher 3 can come. Peggle, in Persona 5 Royal, you have, how do I word this? You explore the dungeons in third person, but once you attack the enemies, it changes to a turn-based style of games. However, if the enemies spot you, you can either run from them or you can attack back. So, would you say in Security Breach, if you're spotted, are there ways of getting unspotted? Because if so, then I might like that a little bit more. But if it's like you get caught and you get a game over and you have to go back to a save point, I might be like, oh, good grief. I've had enough of that from Wind Waker. DDLC Plus, I should warn you about that, Orville. Good thing Caitlin's not here. If you are here, Caitlin, you might want to plug your ears until I give a thumbs up. Uh, DDLC Plus is more or less the original game, but just with a couple of side stories, a music player, and some like additional extras in the menu. Oh, my question was, can you escape if you're spotted? Because in Persona 5, you can like attack back at the enemies, you can jump off of a ledge so that they can't follow you. There are like ways to get away if the enemies run after you. Hello, Louie. Glad you could make it. Oh gosh, I hope I'm keeping up with all of you guys. What was I saying about DDLC Plus? Oh, regarding DDLC Plus, if you already have the original game, ask yourself if you really want to pay extra money for a couple of side stories that have no gameplay, and if you just want a bunch of like extra tidbits like a soundtrack player and new music, because otherwise you have to unlock the new stuff and you might not want to play through the entire original game again just to get a bunch of no gameplay moments. Okay, Caitlin, you can come back out now. Opinions on Mario Kart Wave 3. I actually made a whole review of it, so you can go watch that. I think I put it in Peggle's self promo. So you can watch that if you want my full opinions. But in short, I would say that I really liked it. I thought it's probably the best wave yet. I really especially loved what they did to Peach Gardens, where they made you go backwards on the final lap. I thought that was really clever. I really liked how 3DS Rainbow Road was basically exactly the same as it was on the 3DS. I didn't mind the Maple Treeway music. I think it's because I didn't like Mario Kart Wii's music very much to begin with, mainly because it sounded so synthetic, whereas Mario Kart 8 tried to go for a more big band live music performance. And I like the fact that they took existing Mario Kart tracks and added more realism to it. So it had richer music without at the same time sounding like it was too drastic of a remix, like maybe what Smash would do. Like if you've ever heard the Smash Bros. Version of the Pokemon Center and you're used to like the original versions, you'd be pretty surprised by how much energy they poured into it. That is nice that you have Freddy as like a walking barrel. Yes, I was very happy with the return of half pipes because I loved using those in Mario Kart Wii, and I didn't think they'd ever come back because I thought that ever since Mario Kart 7, they wanted to simplify the tricks so that they didn't make you in the air as much. You've heard the songs in Persona 5? Well, I mean, if you've played Smash and got the Joker DLC, that's where heard some of them, but where have you heard the other ones? So the ones in Smash are Last Surprise, that's obvious, you have to have Last Surprise, that's like the Persona 5 theme song. Wake Up, Get Out There, that's the title screen theme for the original Persona 5. Thankfully, Royal still lets you listen to it anyway because it has a soundtrack player. Rivers in the Desert, which is when you're approaching the final battle music, which is called Our Beginning, and Beneath the Mask, except Beneath the Mask is remixed so that it's much more energetic because the original Beneath the Mask is a very somber, quiet tune that's meant to help you be more reflective, and that would not have worked in Smash very well. Stunning the robots? Okay, cool. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, like they didn't bring back DK Mountain from Mario Kart Wii. That is, or is it DK Summit? I always get those two mixed up. The one where you're like sliding down and if you get in the deep snow, you get stuck in it. Yes, DK Summit. Thank you. Because they also brought back DK Mountain in Mario Kart Wii. So you got a DK Summit and a DK Mountain. So that's where I get those two mixed up. Took you 2 years to beat it? Orville, you must be a really Actually, I shouldn't say that because some people might have trouble understanding the reading. So I hope you are able to take your time to take in the dialogue and really understand the plot twists and what it all means. And then hopefully go back and realize, oh, wow, they were hinting at quite a lot of stuff. Ah. I'd have to play it again to see. I particularly really like the Donkey Kong Country Returns track in Mario Kart 7, and I'm glad that when they brought it back for Mario Kart 8, they made the Golden Temple portion of it anti-gravity. I actually have played the original Donkey Kong Country Returns on both Wii and 3DS, and I what was I gonna say? And I beat the Golden Temple on both of them. And to give you guys context, to get the Golden Temple, you have to beat all of the other temples. Now, Donkey Kong Country Returns is already a very hard game, but the temples are like the hardest part of them. And I had to beat every single one of them in order to unlock the Golden Temple. And the Golden Temple was a cakewalk compared to those temples, but it was still pretty hard because you would have to go get Diddy Kong from outside of the area, and there were no checkpoints. You guys are just now talking about my hair being shorter? I've had this cut for about 2 or 3 months now, and you're only just now noticing it? Peggle, you really think I would get my hair trimmed for my godson's baptism? No, no, that didn't happen. Although I did post a video of my godson's baptism on my channel if you guys want to check that out. I don't think I would be Bowser. I think I would be I'm thinking someone in Paper Mario 2 kinda reminds me of myself. I just can't um, I don't know. I feel like I'd probably be I'll have to think about that. Probably not Bowser though, because he's kind of a he's more of an enforcer kind of personality, and I am much more of a follower. Like Bowser's always telling people what to do, and like when he gets mad, he gets like really mad. And I'm the type that when I get mad, it's usually pretty mild, and sometimes I pretend to get mad on Peggle's streams for the sake of a joke. But in real life, I'm actually very laid back. And if I do get frustrated, it's usually pretty minimal. You've never beaten Thousand Year Door? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Louis. That final battle is absolutely incredible. It's definitely one of the harder final battles I've ever seen in a Mario game. Although Paper Mario: The Origami King's final battle is pretty hard because in the final phase you have a one-shot kill move, and that was really annoying. I actually had to look that one up because I was getting so tired of resetting. But I think in the case of Origami King, it's more frustrating than fun. But in Thousand Year Door, you actually have strategy. You actually have to think because you already have been practicing the whole game about what your move set is. And so if you do badly, it reflects on your skill as a Paper Mario player. Whereas in Origami King, it reflects on your skill to memorize a mural that looks very similar. So I don't think that's a skill that the game trained you enough to learn about. How is Persona 5? Amazing. I absolutely love that game so much. I just got the true ending today, and I am absolutely floored away by how incredible of an experience it is. Still not going to say where it's going to rank on my best games list. I'm just waiting for one of my guests to I'm just waiting for one of my guests to send in her script for my number 1, and then after that, it'll be coming probably by the end of the month. Yeah, I would say Origami King was probably my 3rd favorite because Super Paper Mario I have very mixed feelings on. Origami King was decent, but after replaying the first 2 Paper Mario games, I'm like, "Oh, wow. How did Intelligent Systems go so far down the wrong path?" I don't really play Tekken, so I don't think that's a franchise I'll get into because games like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate were designed with combating the combat of Tekken and Street Fighter because those games are considered too complicated. And Masahiro Sakurai wanted to simplify those annoying combos. So, yeah, probably not. Yeah, Sticker Star was terrible. I got to World 2 before I gave up on it. Although one thing that not enough people talk about in Sticker Star is the first world's music was really nice. It had a very jazzy feel to it that I really appreciate. And I'm glad that they put it in Super Smash Bros. For 3DS and Wii U as a remix. Peggle, if you want to listen to it, it's called the Paper Mario Medley. It has World 1 from Sticker Star, then it switches to Rogue Port from Thousand Year Door, and then it sticks to one of the airship renditions. Color Splash, I have very mixed feelings about Color Splash. I think it's very uncreative and very tone deaf, but at the same time, no, I take it all back. It's terrible. I might even go so far as to say Color Splash is even worse than Sticker Star because at least with Sticker Star, they tried to bring it back to the standard of Thousand Year Door with its turn-based battles, whereas like people complained that Super Paper Mario was like a real-time platformer. But with Color Splash, they took what was already a game people hated and just did it again when the Wii U already wasn't very popular. And so they Nintendo kind of just dug their own grave as though they said, we've just stopped caring about the Wii U, so let's not bother making a good Paper Mario game. Total missed opportunity there. Definitely hope that game doesn't get ported over. I'm glad you never played Color Splash, Jevil. Actually, Color Splash has quite a lot of color to it. It actually is quite the graphical showstopper. It's just that everything else was kind of lame. And it had decent music, and the writing could be pretty funny at times. Okay, so about the Wii U, I know a lot of people give it trouble because of the fact that it was Nintendo's second least successful system next to the Virtual Boy. But I personally would rank the Wii U probably number 2 as my favorite Nintendo system because it had like sure the number of great original games it had wasn't huge, but those games that it did have were amazing and a lot of those games were either ported to the Switch or their sequels on the Switch are pretty much director's cuts of those games. Like you got Super Mario Maker, one of the most ingenious uses of the gamepad ever. Splatoon started on the Wii U. They had Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. I'm not the biggest fan of that game, but a lot of its design elements contributed to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Then we had Mario Kart 8, which that became Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. The Wonderful 101, I personally had too much trouble with it, but I respect the concept. And then that came to the Switch, and they hardly changed anything. Then we had New Super Mario Bros. U, which, okay, it wasn't groundbreaking, but it was fun. My sister and I had a good time with it. So yeah, the Wii U had a lot of good games. Breath of the Wild, how could I forget? That's my favorite video game. I agree with you, Louis, that every good game is on the Switch, but another thing that makes me not like the Switch as much are the Joy-Cons. I really hate those things with a passion. I think those are some of the worst controllers Nintendo's ever made. They're just too small, too cramped, they drift too easily, and it's just the fact that Nintendo's had a lawsuit over them and they did nothing to fix it just makes me really mad. And I couldn't even play Nintendo Switch Sports because they required them to be updated. But the Wii U has a very comfortable gamepad. Like, if I could play Tears of the Kingdom on a gamepad, I would much rather do that than on the Joy-Cons. And whenever I go back to replay the original Mario Kart 8, because I'm trying to complete every cup in 200cc on both Wii U and Switch, I always think, man, Mario Kart 8 feels so much more comfortable on the Wii U than it ever did on the Switch. I also just think the Wii U's control sticks worked much better. The Wii U had an internet browser. That's another big thing. I like the Wii U's atmosphere a lot, like the menu and the overall vibe. Have a good one, Peggle. Make sure you don't drown in there. The overall vibe of the Wii U was so cozy. It felt like it was the next evolution of Nintendo. And then there was something else about the Wii U I really the virtual console. The Wii U had the virtual console, so you could you could buy all of these old games. Admittedly, it's not as cool as a subscription service, but I wish Nintendo would price their retro games on Switch Online separate from the Switch Online. I think that was probably one of their biggest mistakes is that the online is terrible, that they should just sell the N64 games separately. Welcome back, Yubi. Glad you didn't disappear. You forgot to answer my question, Yubi. You forgot to say what you agreed with me on in my worst games video. So overall, I think I do like the Switch better because of the deals Nintendo was able to make the Switch have so many dream games. Like the Switch had Banjo-Kazooie, and you're not going to answer my question? Oh well, I guess you'll have to message me the answer. See you around, Yubi. Glad you could make it. Like the Switch had Banjo-Kazooie. It had Banjo and Kazooie and Smash, so that's two good reasons right there. It also had Breath of the Wild. Personally, I wish it would have stayed on the Wii U, but I can see why Nintendo didn't. Super Mario Odyssey was amazing. I hated Super Mario 3D World, and the Switch came along and gave us Bowser's Fury, so yeah, that was a good enough compromise. The Switch has Nirvana Initiative, Stanley Parable. It has some absolute amazing gems that probably skipped the Wii U because fans were like, or the publishers were like, we don't want to take a risk on a dead console. The Wii U also had Rayman Legends. I forgot to mention that, and then that came to the Switch, and that was, I wouldn't exactly call it definitive, even though that's what they called it. So, yes, the Switch is my number one console, but it's not my number one controller. My number one controller would probably be the GameCube controller. I feel like that was just such an out of left field design, but it worked so well, especially for Super Mario Sunshine. Like, I know people give that game a hard time nowadays, especially when I replayed it for 3D All Stars. But I remember when I was a kid, I really liked Super Mario Sunshine a lot, and I thought that the GameCube controller was more or less designed for Mario Sunshine because the control stick felt like it had just the right amount of resistance when trying to guide Mario along, like when you wanted to make him tiptoe. The C stick worked really well for the camera, and the R trigger worked so well for getting Mario to have just the right amount of water pressure coming out of FLUDD. Then when they brought it on the Switch, something happened that tarnished my memory of a game that I otherwise would have considered a classic. Yeah, yeah, I would agree, Jevil. Then again, to be fair, Microsoft more or less pioneered the modern computer system. So I guess you could say they automatically know how to make good online because they more or less invented the online infrastructure. More or less. I don't think they actually invented it, but like Microsoft computers were among the first mainstream computers that the casual customer could pick up and get used to. Oh man, I am thirsty. Oh, that feels so good. I almost forgot about my water there, and I was like, oh, I hope I don't have to end the stream already. Yep, GameCube controller is pretty amazing for Smash as well. I think my Pro controller works well enough when I'm playing it by myself because I don't know, I like the control stick on it. But I do appreciate the fact that unlike the Wii U, you can play like pretty much any game with a GameCube controller on the Switch. Admittedly, the controls are might take some getting used to, but like you can even play Mario Kart with a GameCube controller. That's amazing. You can't do that on the Wii U, even though the Wii U uh oh, I'm sorry, Matthew. I totally missed your message. I don't know how did it not get. It must have been a delay in sending it. What girl did I pick on Persona 5? Makoto. I've always liked that calm and composed demeanor. Maybe because she reminds me of myself. I used to joke around a lot in the old days that, like, if I were to ever get into a relationship, I'd date basically, if there was a female version of me, I'd probably date her because I'd like to think I'm a pretty good person, and I don't think I'd mind dating someone like me as long as maybe she wasn't as persnickety as I was when I was a kid. Hello, Teresa. Yes, I actually remembered for once. How's it been going for you? Yeah, I hope this isn't turning out to be boring for you. Hello, you said your name was Victor, was it? Doesn't your name stand for In Defense of the Pope, or am I thinking of something else? A year older. Well, congratulations on having a birthday. What did you do that was fun for it, or did you just spend it relaxing? Ooh, my computer says a winter storm is coming, so yay for snow, possibly. Well, it's good that we have channels that are defending Pope Francis because so many people hate his guts, and it's like, he's the successor of St. Peter. You at least need to respect the office of the Pope or the papacy. Like, if you're going to criticize him, make sure you've really studied church doctrine and what constitutes as papal infallible authority versus opinions. I just think most people that don't like Pope Francis are uneducated. And I would I would consider myself also pretty uneducated, which is why I don't bash the Pope, but I also don't try to defend him. I just defend what I know about papacy in general, which is he's a successor to St. Peter. And even if you don't agree with him, you still have to respect him, just like you would respect your boss, even if you don't agree with your boss at work. I'm glad we're in agreement. Oh man, I'm getting tired. I might have to wrap this up early. So, what have you been up to lately, Victor? Hope that's what your name is. What's been the latest news in your life? And to the rest of you, what kind of plans do you have for, well, I guess you too. For everyone else, what kind of plans do you have for Christmas and or New Year's? Personally, I am just gonna do all the fun Christmas stuff on Christmas Eve, and then regular Christmas is just going to mass and then having a phone call with one of my friends. Finishing high school, congratulations. Hope you enjoy the home stretch. I never went to high school, so I hope it wasn't a terrible experience. Oh, thank you, Matthew. Just to just to clarify, that was my godson, not my nephew. My nephew's baptism was actually uh, his baptism was actually while I was already committed to doing something else. I think it might have even been the same weekend. But as far as my godson's baptism, that my gosh, the amount of strings I had to pull to make it possible to get there was unbelievable. But I definitely appreciate that of all of the best timing in the world, the couple happened to call me up with the Godfather request right on the last day of my vacation when I went to go visit Isabel. So like Isabel was already like visiting her was already the highlight of my year. And then knowing that I became a godfather and I got that call while visiting her like made it even more amazing. I'm glad you thought it was beautiful, Jevil, because my gosh, that film quality was something else. I think it's because the reason why the film quality wasn't that great is because the person in charge of the camera was doing the streaming for the sake of those who were afraid of going to mass due to COVID risks. And so that camera wasn't specifically there for baptismal purposes. It was there for the sake of the COVID terrified audience to watch the mass. So maybe if they had prepared more, it would have been better quality. Why do we baptize babies? Because baptism is the removal of original sin, and it's also giving the gifts of the Holy Spirit, and it's also making someone an adopted son or daughter of God. So if you've got sin on your soul, why would you wait to get rid of it? If the baby dies all of a sudden, then the baby will have to have the original sin purged. And we don't want that. We want babies to be able to just go straight to heaven if something happens to them. So we consider it vital to baptize the babies as soon as possible so that they can be sinless if something happens. They can receive the gifts of the Holy Spirit so that they're not going through life giftless. And I just forgot the third reason. But basically, it all boils down to an abundance of sacramental grace that really strengthens someone, that you can't necessarily notice it in action, but when you get to the afterlife, it all adds up. That's a simple answer. As for why we baptize in general, the evidence for that can be, I actually just looked it up a couple of hours before this stream. It was Matthew 28:19. Go therefore and baptize or go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. That is our defense for why we baptize and why we use those specific words 20 days remaining. Oh gosh. I got to get my video done before then. Thanks for reminding me, Jevil. But at least 2023 is looking like it's going to be a good year for gaming. Hopefully, it's a good year for everything else because I really want to go on another mission trip. Yeah, I know. 2022 did seem like it went by so quickly. I feel like 2020 and 2021 were like the longest years of my life. 2022 feels like it's one of the shortest. Maybe because where I live, pretty much everyone's forgotten about COVID. Like you still get a couple of weirdos here and there that run around with masks and all that. And at the doctor, I still have to answer those annoying questions. But most people don't give a darn about it. I think we're all just like, okay, if you need to be cautious, do it. But if you've got a good immune system, and you're not in immediate danger, then don't panic over something that's not life threatening. So it's, I feel like because we were able to basically go back to normal in 2022, I feel like it didn't feel like it dragged because we weren't waiting to be able to see our friends again like we were in 2020. Yes, as someone who works I technically work 2 jobs, but my friend is taking a break from YouTube, so that's kind of an indefinite amount of time. But at least I still have my other job, and at least my boss wants me to work this coming Saturday. So that's something. Oh, Jevil. You're so funny with your multiverse talk. Oh, yeah. My sister's looking forward to Spider-Verse 2 coming out. I'm actually looking forward to it as well. It does sound like it's going to be pretty cool. All right, guys, I think I might call it here because I'm getting really tired and I'm I kind of threw this stream together last minute, so I'm honestly surprised I was able to stream at all. So thank you very much for you all watching. Um, thank you for putting up with me being so forgetful on this streaming thing. I hope you all have a great Christmas and a great New Year's, assuming I don't stream again. And until the next time, remember to keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless. Bye for now.